So here's a short diary of the dilemma that is Ukraine. There is no if about a new offensive, okay? Ignore anything that puts it as an if. It is happening. We saw it with our own eyes. There's just not much coverage of it. The map shows the strategy. We showed you the reality of this strategy. Literally, the eastern part of that country is in the mouth of the monster. And it is not about infrastructure. It's not about finding Nazis in Ukraine's ranks. That is all propaganda. It's about people, killing them and scaring them into submission. I want to show you what they're hitting. These are apartments. Russia is killing everywhere and everyone that it can as it tries to swallow that country. Covering the reality shows how close the bombing keeps coming to innocence. Listen to this. You know, it's like a signature look of this particular war. Those were soldiers in their own private car. The sound of the bomb sounds oddly like my own voice. Though look, the team was lucky that it got out of there safely. And especially when they did what we're not taught to do. You know, when something explodes near you, you're supposed to hit the ground, not run. Why? Because of the spread effect of those explosives. So didn't do the right thing, but we had the right outcome. At some point, we'll play that sound the right way. We'll just keep doing it until we get it right. Now, we were some of the last allowed into this area of some of the most intense fightings. So who knows what's happening there now? The world is shut out. And the fighting itself is a throwback. It is World War I trench warfare that must have an outcome that keeps us from World War III. For the troops, death is common and cruel. Ukraine is said to be overperforming, but for how long? How long can they rely on outsized patriotism and grit and undersized capabilities and equipment? Now that's where we and Europe comes in. But back home, we're just watching with one eye if we watch it all, right? Because the other eye, our focus, is drawn to balloons and UFOs and other artificial threats as we discount the real one that you just had on your screen. And as for you who say, we've done enough, okay, we have done a lot. But perspective, okay? Here's what we've pledged to Ukraine to this point. And I want to set it against, get rid of the balloon. I want to set it against what we gave to Afghanistan, okay? Now, not only was Afghanistan a much larger investment for much longer, not including what mattered most, which were the lives of some 3,000 Americans. But 2 points about that. All that was done in a place that would never be half of the potential ally as Ukraine. And the stakes were a fraction of those in this war. We all remember, what were we fighting there? Terror, an idea that we knew we could never defeat. And we were fighting against opponents that were scattered with no ability to occupy or control anything meaningful. But what's happening in Ukraine? We're ignoring a madman with a massive military and a plan and a population on his side. One of the largest arsenals in the world and clear ambitions to resurrect the Soviet bloc. For those who say it's Ukraine's problem, they're only the beginning of the problem. Who comes next? Ultimately, for me, the faces tell the story. You have people there with a look that you only see among those who are truly dispossessed and desperate. They thought they had lived through the worst when freedom was first won from Russia. Now they're holding these haunted stares into an uncertain, frightening future. The teens there, they're growing up fast. They're having to defer their dreams of TikTok and innocence and what ifs and wanderlust. At 16, 17, they're being forced to see the world through an existential reality. Listen to this. What do you tell yourself to make it okay that these people will try to kill you and you may have to try to kill them to save your life and your country?
I didn't choose the aggression against anybody else, so that's not the problem for me. And if we wouldn't defend our country, nobody else would do.
Think about that. Your own future in your own hands, and death is on the line. Even the children there, I took this picture, know what's at stake. Yeah, sure, his parents put him up on that tank, but he knew why he was waving that flag. He knows what this war is. He knows what it means. The question is, do we know? Because here's one thing that we must all be aware of, whether you visit there or not. What happens there will shape what happens here. That is for sure. Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.